Singapore's nightlights brought more than tyre smoke. They reignited old rivalries and exposed raw nerves. Fernando Alonso erupted over Lewis Hamilton's radio calls, claiming Hamilton was driving without brakes, unsafe, and pushing boundaries no one should cross. Ferrari rushed to deny any danger. Hamilton struck back, quietly, pointedly, and with thinly veiled jabs. The collision of past and present drama became as much about respect and rivalry as it was about mechanical failure. Before we go deeper, hit subscribe if you want the battles behind the headlines. Every radio rant, team drama, rivalry revived. Hamilton's problems began halfway through the Singapore Grand Prix when he came over team radio and said, "I've lost my brakes, I've lost the left front, it's gone." His engineer urged calm, reminding him to lift and coast and to avoid pushing the car too hard. Hamilton, clearly frustrated, fired back, I'm not trying to cut corners, mate." But as the laps rolled on, corner after corner he strayed over the limits. It was survival driving, not a masterclass, but in survival mode, Hamilton still had Alonso behind him. Alonso was furious. He had just recovered from a slow start and found himself stuck behind the Ferrari. When Hamilton complained over the radio, Alonso snapped, "I cannot believe it. Is it safe to drive with no brakes? You cannot drive when the car is unsafe. Now you have no brakes and everything is fine? I doubt it." The anger in his voice was unmistakable, and when his engineer tried to soothe him with encouragement, "That's P8 anyway, good recovery," Alonso barked back. "This should be thing P7. Alonso has always been outspoken on the radio, but this rant hit harder because of the history. His rivalry with Hamilton stretches all the way back to 2007 at McLaren, when the two became bitter enemies inside the same garage. Alonso has never forgotten the feeling of being treated differently, of rules applied unequally. In Singapore, he saw déjà vu. Hamilton apparently given leniency while he was trapped behind. Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur was quick to counter. Speaking after the race, he dismissed Alonso's safety claim outright. "It's not true that it was unsafe. We had brake issues, yes, but we adapted the pace, we used lift and coast, we changed settings. Lewis slowed himself down. That's what kept it under control. He was on the safe side." Vasseur admitted both Ferraris struggled with overheating brakes throughout the night, pointing out that Singapore's heavy stop-start nature punished them more than rivals. It was tough from the start, but it was not dangerous, he insisted. The stewards agreed with Ferrari. They judged that while Hamilton's repeated track limit breaches were unacceptable, the brake issue wasn't severe enough to park the car. He received a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits too many times, but there was no order to retire him. That penalty dropped Hamilton behind Alonso in the final classification, which Alonso accepted but still felt wasn't enough. Hamilton's response was vintage Lewis, understated in the press but sharp online. He mocked Alonso's disbelief by posting a clip from the sitcom 1 Foot in the Grave, where the character endlessly repeats, "I don't believe it." Hamilton captioned it, 18 years of Devok, a clear jab at Alonso, reminding the world that their rivalry has lasted nearly 2 decades. The post went viral instantly, with fans split between laughter and exasperation. Pundits wasted no time dissecting the spat. Martin Brundle remarked, "Fernando always feels the rules bend differently for others. Lewis knows that and he plays into it. This was another chapter in a very long book." Damon Hill added, "Lewis is one of the best at nursing a wounded car. He's done it for years. You can understand Fernando's frustration, but I don't think Lewis was unsafe. He was just clever." Fans online took sides instantly. Alonso loyalists argued that if Hamilton was cutting corners and crying about brakes, he should have been penalized harder. Hamilton fans reminded everyone of Alonso's own history of angry radio calls, posting compilations of his GP2 engine rants at Honda and his digs at his own teams. The truth probably lies in the middle. Hamilton was struggling badly with his brakes, forcing him to cut corners to keep control, but Ferrari's management ensured he didn't push past what they deemed unsafe. Alonso's fury wasn't just about safety, it was about fairness, about the sense that one rival was getting away with things he would have been punished for. This isn't the first time Formula One has seen this debate. Drivers have long pushed cars that were technically unsafe, but still within steward tolerance. Nigel Mansell once limped a car home with a gearbox stuck in third. Ayrton Senna drove with failing suspension. More recently, Hamilton himself has carried cars with no gears, no hydraulics, or broken wings across the finish line. Alonso knows this history, but in the heat of battle, watching Hamilton cut corners lap after lap while still keeping him behind, the injustice boiled over. And it wasn't lost on Alonso that Hamilton's brake issue directly affected his own race. Alonso finished behind in 9th, one place lower than he believed he deserved. Ferrari, meanwhile, faces the bigger technical worry. Both Hamilton and Leclerc suffered from overheating brakes. Singapore's brutal layout exposed a weakness, and with Austin, Mexico, and Brazil looming, all circuits with long straights and heavy braking zones, the problem could resurface. Ferrari knows that if Alonso's accusations stick in the media, any repeat of brake issues will be magnified under scrutiny. Vasseur promised, "We will bring updates. We will make sure this does not happen again. It was a one-off." But rivals aren't convinced. Alonso certainly isn't. He doubled down when asked post-race if he still believed Hamilton's car should have been flagged. "Of course, we need consistency. If I lose a mirror, if I lose bodywork, I get black and orange flags. Today, with no brakes, it's all fine? That cannot be." His logic is simple. If rules are rules, apply them the same way to everyone. Hamilton naturally sees it differently. He praised his team for helping him get the car to the finish. "We managed it. We did everything right to keep it safe. It wasn't easy, but that's racing. Sometimes you have to fight with what you've got." That was as close as he came to admitting the truth. That yes, he cut corners, but he also kept control. So what does this mean going forward? For Ferrari, it's a reliability warning. For Alonso, it's more fuel to fire his narrative as the paddock's outspoken conscience. And for Hamilton, it's another notch in his belt. Proof that even when wounded, he can frustrate his greatest rival. The next races will test these narratives. Austin's big braking zones will stretch Ferrari systems. Mexico's thin air pushes engines and cooling to the edge. Brazil's Interlagos is a circuit of chaos where rivals often collide. And every weekend, the cameras will be tuned to Hamilton and Alonso. Every overtake, every radio message, every sarcastic Instagram post will be scrutinized. Singapore wasn't just a race. It was a reminder that Alonso and Hamilton will never be just two drivers on the grid. They are mirrors of each other, stubborn, proud, unwilling to yield. When one falters, the other pounces. When one complains, the other mocks. 18 years on, their rivalry is still alive, still raw, and still capable of stealing headlines from everything else. So as Formula One barrels toward its finale, the question lingers. Was Alonso right to cry foul, or was Hamilton simply playing the game better than anyone else? One thing is certain, the battle between them is far from over, and every time their paths cross, the echoes of 2007 return under the floodlights.